है.
Okay, sir.
Suppose we copy this program to Notepad. We paste it here. We go to the main section and we copy the main section as well. Okay. Now since the main function is written in the box demo 3, so we have to save this file with the name boxdemo3.java. Box save boxdemo3.java. Let us save this file. Okay, then we will go to here, we'll go to here, we'll go to here, we'll see the file is there. So java c boxdemo3.java program is executed successfully without any compilation error. Now if I want to execute the program, I'll see write java box demo 3. So the output is volume is 3000 and volume is 162. See, volume is 3000 and volume is 162. So this is the program. This is how, what mistake you might have done. Instead of saving this file with the box demo 3.java, you might have saved it with some other name. That's why you was getting that error. Okay, so understand it very carefully. When we have say multiple classes in the same file, say here in the same notepad file we have two class, one is class box, another is class box demo 3, and when we want to save this file, then the file name should be the same as the class name in which the main function is written. So in which class the main function is written? It's written in box demo 3. So you have to save this file with box demo 3.java. Now here in this program, say in this program, if you copy this program, so you will copy similarly the class box file, you will then write this box demo 4 and the file name will be box demo 4.java. To this file, if you give box demo 3 or any other name than box demo 4, you might get an error. Okay, run it once again. So in this program, say you have written one function. Okay, this is a function void volume. So volume is a function name, void is a return type. Void is a return type. When this function does not return anything, we write void as a return type. How we have called this function? We have called this function like this, mybox1.volume. We have basically called the volume function. When we execute this line, your volume function will get executed and system.out.print, it will print the volume is, okay, and system.out.println width multiplied by height multiplied by depth. So it will multiply the values of width, height and depth and it will print here. Say the volume is 3000. The next line is volume is 162. This is the output of mybox2.volume function. So we have called the function gets executed. Whatever task we have, whatever lines, whatever logic we have written in the function will execute that logic. And the return type is void. It means we do not expect this function to calculate or return anything to here. Okay, this function is called from this line. So if this function will return something, so it will return to here itself, here. But we are not expecting this function to return anything. Okay, now there is another programming say logic wherein we expect function to return something. So similarly, in like earlier program, mybox1.volume, you have called the volume function for object 1. mybox2.volume, you have called the volume function for object 2. So when you call these functions, this function will get called. When you have called this function, this will get called. What this function is expected to do, this function is expected to calculate the answer of this width multiplied by height multiplied by depth, whatever the values of width, height and depth for object myBox1, because who is calling this function? myBox1. So myBox1 ka width, height and depth. What is the value of width, height and depth of myBox1? 10, 25 and 15. So 10 multiplied by 25 multiplied by 15, whatever the answer is say 3200 or whatever the answer is 3200. Return that answer. RETURN, return keyword. It is returning something. Return the answer. So width is of type double, height is of type double and depth is of type double. Here double, double, double. So their answer would be of type double. अगर विड्थ इंटीजर होता, हाइट इंटीजर होता, डेप्थ इंटीजर होता तो उनका मल्टीप्लिकेशन भी इंटीजर होता. So now width, height and depth are of type double, so their multiplication will be of type double and this function is returning one double value, one value of type double. That's why we have written a return type is double. Here we have not written void because this function is returning something. And what it is returning? It is returning a value of type double. That's why the return type is double. So when we are returning something from here, so it should be collected. Okay. So when that value is returned from here, it will be collected in this volume temporary variable. Let's say 3200, 3200 is returned from here. So return from here means this value is stored here in volume variable. And now you print that volume variable, you will see the answer. Here, for the second volume function, here you have called this function. This function gets called. It will multiply width, height and depth. For whom it will multiply? The object which has called the function. myBox2 has called. So what is the value of myBox2? 3, 6 and 9. So 6 multiplied by 9. Whatever the answer is 162. So 162.00. This value is of type double. So double is the return type. Okay, so it will return where it will return to the same line from where you have called the function. So there you need to store the value, so you have stored it into the volume function, volume variable. Volume is equal to, so the meaning of this line is call the myBox2.volume function and whatever the function returns, store it in this variable. Whatever the answer this function returns, store it in this variable and then you can print the value using system.out.println. Understood? Okay, so let's see another function, how we can write few more types of function here in the case of classes and object. So let's say you have written a class box again. Okay, in the class box you have three variable, width, height and depth, all of type double. This function we have seen, write a volume function. Volume function will calculate the volume, whatever the value of width, height and depth, it will multiply these variable values, it will return it. That's why we have written the return type as double. Okay, now here we have written one more function, set dimension. Okay, set dimension. Now in earlier program we have assigned values here manually. Say myBox1.width is equal to 10, 20, 15. Say here we have assigned value manually for second object also, myBox2.width, height and depth. Let's say we have another object, so we will write another 3 lines, myBox3.width, 3.height, 3.depth, let's say we have 100 variables, so we keep on writing 3 lines for each object, है ना? So it is not a good practice. So for initialization also we have written one function. How we have written this function? Say set dimension is a function name. It accepts 3 arguments from the user. It accepts 3 arguments from the user. It returns nothing. That's why the return type is void. And what it does? Whatever value user will supply, it will initialize it to width, height and depth variable. This is how you have initialized the width, height and depth variable. How to use this? To use this class, you have created another class, say box demo 5. So when you will save this program and try to run this, save it with the name box demo 5.java, because the main function you have written inside box demo 5 class. So inside main, you will create say 2 objects, my box 1 and my box 2. So when you create 2 objects, your 2 objects will look like say my box 1, this is your my box 2. Your 2 objects are like this. What is there in your 2 objects? This is your object 1, this is your object 2. So in object you will have width, height and depth variable. So you will write width, height and depth variable. You have one volume function and you have one set dimension function. You have one volume function, you have one set dimension function. So this is how your object 1 look likes, my box 1. How your my box 2 will look like? Width, height and depth. It will have width, height, depth, one volume function and one set dimension function. Now your object is ready. Now you want to assign values values to your object variables. Instance, you want to assign values to this width, height and depth for both the objects. So you will call the function. For my box 1, I mean my box 1 dot, this function, set dimension function. You call the set dimension function and you supply 3 values 10, 20 and 15. So when you call this function set dimension 10, 20, 15, okay, so this function will get called. So 10 will get stored in W, 20 will get stored in H and 15 will get stored in D. Now you want to assign the value of this width, height and depth. So this assignment you have done. Width is equal to W, so your value is 10, this height value is 20 and depth value is 15. It means you have assigned this value, that is 10, 25 and 15. Here set dimension 369. So again this function will get called. W will become 3, height will become 6 and depth will become 9. So you have assigned it with 3, 6, 9. And like your earlier program, then you have called my box 1 dot volume, call the volume function. So volume function will get called. Volume function, what this function will do, this will multiply the width, height and depth. Which width, height and depth? For my box 1, that is 10, 25 and 15. It will return the value, store it in this volume variable and then you will print it. My box 2 dot volume, it will call the volume function. Volume function, this function will get called. This will multiply width, height and depth. What are the values of width, height and depth? For my box 2, you have initialized the values as 3, 6, 9. So 3 into 6 into 9, it will return the value. You will accept it in this variable and you will then print it. So this is how you can write a function in the class for all the activity. So in your earlier program, you were initializing the variables outside the class. Here you are initializing the variables outside the class. Here you are printing the volume outside the class. Okay, so you can do all these things with the help of member functions. So in this program you have written a function to initialize, you have written a function to calculate the volume, you can write some other function to display the volume. I mean, let's say if you want to say calculate the addition of two numbers, so how your class will look like? Your class will contain, let's say we open a notepad. Okay, you want to perform a addition, so let's say you write a class addition. Okay, in the class addition, let's say you have two integer variable, int I comma j. Okay, now you want to initialize these two variables, so you will write void init. Okay, function name void init, void init. So you have initialized, say I is equal to 5, and you can initialize j is equal to 10. This is how you can write initialization function. Then suppose you want to perform addition, void add, perform the addition. Okay, so you will perform the addition. You want to, let's say, have another variable. If you want to say store the addition, so answer, you have created another variable answer. So you can write answer is equal to I plus j, perform the addition of two integer variable and store the answer in the answer variable. Let's say you want to write another class, another function which is name as display. So it will display, what it will display? System.out.println. What it will display? Answer is plus answer. It will display answer is plus answer. This your class is over. Now if you want to use this class, so you will write a class, say another name, class name as demo, any name of your choice. Inside this you will write public static void main string args. You have written like this, public static void main string args. Your main function is here. In the main function, if you want to use this addition class, first you will create an object of that class. So how to create an object? Say addition is the class. Let's say object name is obj is equal to new addition. By writing this line, I have created an object. After object creation, I want to call the initialization function. So I will call obj dot init function. So by calling this function, I will initialize the value of I and j for obj as 5 and 10. After that, if I want to calculate the addition, so I will write obj dot add function. So obj dot add function will perform the addition. After that, I will write obj dot display. This will display the addition onto the screen. I will close the program. Okay. Now I have written main inside the demo class. So I will save this file with the name demo.java. I will save it with the demo.java. Okay, so I'll try to run that javac demo.java. This program is compiled without any error. Java demo. So the answer is 15. You can see the answer is 15. Why it is 15? Because you have initialized it with 5 and 10. Let's say you don't want to initialize it here itself. You want your user to say pass the value. Okay. So instead, if you want your user to pass the value, say in the here init function. In the init function, let's say user wants to pass value as 100 and 200. Now since since in the function you are passing two argument 100 and 200 of type integer, you will have to modify this function here, int say x comma int y. Now whatever value you have passed here, 100 and 200, this 100 and 200 got stored here in x and y, but you want values to be there in ing, so you will assign x, you will assign y. Now if you save the program, if you try to compile it again, java c demo.java and java demo, you will see 300.
सर एट रन टाइम वैल्यू कैसे पास करेंगे?
रन टाइम वैल्यू कैसे पास करेंगे? I mean in one program you have assigned like this 10, 20 and 15, right?
Yes sir.
In the next variant of the same program you have asked user to initialize here 10, 20 and 15. If you want to accept value from the user, if you want to accept value from the user, so if you want to say user enter the value of I and j, so that user will enter it. यही क्वेश्चन है आपका?
Yes sir.
Okay, so for that we have studied this scanner class here, है ना, import java.util.star. okay, let me tell you here, यहाँ पे हमने पढ़ा था import java.util.star. so here you will write import java.util.star. okay. Now in the addition you want a user to say here instead of this 100 200 you want user to say ask enter the value. So first you will write this line, one minute, you will write this line, scanner console is equal to new scanner and enter, and let me copy this. Okay, then here first line will be scanner console is equal to new scanner system.in. please type two numbers, we want only two numbers from the user. Okay, so then user will enter first number, we will store it in num1, user will enter second number, we will store it in num2, and instead of this 100 200 we will pass num1 and num2, whatever value user will give. Instead of 100 200 we will give num1 and num2. The same program will work, you don't have to change here in this class. Okay, let's try to compile this program and see the output. Java c demo.java program is compiled successfully. Java class name is demo, so it will ask please type two numbers. Let's say my first number is 75 and my second number is 75, so the answer is 150. So this is another way, I mean you can have you can ask user to enter value, and those values you can use in your program to do the logic, I mean to fulfill your logic. Understood?
Yes sir.
Okay. Everybody?
Yes sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes sir.
Okay, so
Yes, sir.
so here we are asking user to input two number, num1 and num2. We are passing that num1 and num2 to the init function, and this init function is initializing value of I and j, because I and j is our class variables. So basically whatever value we want I and for I and j. So this is how this simple program works. Okay, now the next topic is a constructor. Now in this program we have, I mean in the earlier program here we have initialized like this dot width 10, 20, 15. Okay, a better way to initialize variable is this. Instead of writing multiple times, you can write a function for initialization and you call the function name. You can call the function like this. You can call the function like this and you initialize the value. But there is one more, another better option, better way to initialize. It is known as constructor. Okay, so constructor is nothing but a member function, like your volume is a member function. Okay, you have written say setDim is a member function, is a function that you have written. It is a member function. Member function means member function for a class box. It is a function written inside box, so it is a member function of a class box. So constructor is nothing but a member function of a class, but it is a special member function. Special in the sense the constructor's name is the same as class name. So let's say my class name is box, and if I want to write a constructor for the class box, so my member function is box. I will write box and function. So this is nothing but a constructor. This is nothing but a constructor function. So what is the uniqueness about the constructor function? So constructor function gets called automatically at the time of object creation. There is no need to call the constructor function exclusively. Like in your earlier program, you have created an object. Then for setting the dimensions, you have called this setDim function. You have to call this, you have to write this line. Then for calculating the volume, you have to call this function. Okay, so you have to call setDimension function, volume function exclusively. Whereas in this program, okay, this is the same program. We have a class box, 3 variable, 1 constructor and 1 volume function which calculates the volume and return the value. So here in the box, which is a constructor function, we have initialized the value of width is equal to 10, height is equal to 10 and depth is equal to 10. We have initialized the values with 10, 10, 10. How this works? So we have created a box demo 6 public static void main. Inside that we are creating 2 objects. Let's say my box 1 and my box 2. Your my box 1 object will look like this. Your my box 2 will look like this. Okay, so this is your my box 1, this is your my box 2. So in the my box 1 you will have width, height and depth. My box 2 you will have width, height and depth. Here you have written one constructor function and you have written one volume function. One constructor function and here you have written one volume function. This is how your objects will look like. So when you execute this line, first line, box my box 1 is equal to new box. Basically you have created structure like this, physical object like this, my box 1 object you have created. And at the same line, this box function will get called automatically. This box function, which is a default constructor, will get called automatically for my box 1 and it will initialize the value of width is 10, height is 20 and depth is 30. This function will get called automatically. There is no need to call my box 1 dot box for initialization. Let's say you have created another object, box my box 2 is equal to new box. So upon writing this line, you have created an object structure like this, and at this line automatically the box function will get called, default constructor will get called automatically, and it will initialize the value of width is equal to 10, height is equal to 10 and depth is equal to 10. it will initialize the value. Now you have a volume function, normal volume function. So you have calculated the volume for my box 1. It will multiply 10 into 10 into 10. It will return the value and you will store it in the volume variable and you will print it here. My box 2 dot volume. So volume function will get called. It will multiply 10 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 10. It will return the value. You will store it in volume variable and you will print it here. So this is how your name should always be the same as class name. Constructor does not have a return type, not even void. See here we are not mentioning any return type. In a normal function we mention the return type as a void or a double. Okay. So constructor is meant to create and initialize the object. It cannot return anything. Okay. So whenever you create an object, constructor gets called automatically at the time of object creation. Whatever values you want to initialize, you mention it in the constructor function, and likewise it will get initialized. This is how your constructor function works. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, shall we move ahead?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now there is another type of a constructor. I mean, here we have seen a default constructor, box, and the parentheses are say blank. We have not passed anything. So it will initialize. It will always initialize the values of width, height and depth to 10, 10 and 10 since we have hard coded it. For my box 1 also the width, height and depth are 10, 10, 10. For my box 2 also the width, height and depth are 10, 10, 10, because for all the objects there is only one constructor here and it will get executed at the time of object creation and the same value will be initialized. But let's say you want for my box 1 user want it 555. For my box 2 the user wants a value should be initialized to 10, 10, 10 using constructor. Then how to achieve this? Likewise, like here. Same program. It is a parameterized constructor. So here you have written a class box. You have three variables, width, height and depth. Here you have written one volume function which will calculate the volume and it will return the value. Here you want to write a function. Here you want to write a constructor. So we know the constructor name should be same as the class name. The class name is box, so constructor name is box. Here your constructor will accept three arguments. Here your constructor will accept three arguments from the user and it will initialize the value of width, height and depth with those values, whatever value the user will supply. How this works? Say for this you have written a class box demo 7 public static void main string args and you want to create an object my box 1 and my box 2. So here see the difference. Box my box 1 is equal to new box and here you have supplied arguments here itself. So what this line will do, this line will basically create your my box 1. This my box 1 will have width, 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 height, depth, one constructor and one volume function. Okay. So by executing this line, box my box 1 is equal to new box, you have allocated the space required for this my box 1. Since the user has supplied three arguments 10, 20 and 15, so here this constructor will get called 10, 20 and 15. So W will become 10, H will become 20 and D will become 15. So your width, height and depth will be 10, 20 and 15. So this will become 10, 20 and 15. This is how it works. Say for the second time, for the next object, my box 2 is equal to new box 369. This line will create an object my box 2. It will have width, height, depth, one constructor function and one volume function. You have passed the argument 369. So W will become 3, H will become 6, D will become 9, and your width, height and depth will be 369. So this will become 3, 6 and 9. And now if you want to calculate the volume like your earlier program, you will call the volume function. It will multiply and it will return the answer and you can print it. So this is how you can write a parameterized constructor. This is how you can write a parameterized constructor. There is no need to call constructor exclusively. It gets called automatically at the time of object creation. If you do not provide any parameter, like here 10, 20, 15, you have provided the parameter. 369, you have provided the parameter. So it will search for the appropriate constructor and it gets called. If you do not provide any parameter, it will search for the default constructor and it will get called automatically at the time of object creation. See